With 4.5 coming to a close, it's finally that time of the patch again where Hoyoverse unveils what comes next. Like how we'll all be bankrupt after the financial ruin that is pulling for Arlecchino, and how they'll use that money to finally fill in the black hole on our maps, as well as many other events, gameplay updates, new banners, and various quality of life changes. Heyo everyone, my name's TableFlip64, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts and opinions on the Genshin Impact 4.6 special program, starting with Arlecchino. I always thought that she would be cool, but I had never expected her to be the Demon Lord with a Sephiroth wing wielding a Crimson Flame scythe levels of cool. She's the first character to actually utilize the Bond of Life mechanic in her kit, with her normal attacks draining her current Bond of Life to do increased damage and reduce the cooldown of her elemental skill. So what is Bond of Life? I doubt many people remember offhand what it is, and rightfully so, with it only being applied by some enemies and only being used on some weapons. Bond of Life is a debuff that can only be removed through healing, essentially taking the place of your HP bar until fully healed off. Speaking of which, how does Arlecchino even get Bond of Life in the first place? Well, whenever she uses her elemental skill, it applies a blood debt directive to enemies hit, and when she uses her charge attack, she will consume these blood debts to gain Bond of Life. Once her Bond of Life is over a certain percentage of her HP, that's when she gets a Pyro Infusion and does increased damage on her normal attacks. She also has a passive where she cannot be healed from other teammates, however, she gains a Pyro damage bonus. The upside to this passive, other than the damage bonus, is that other teammates can't heal off her Bond of Life, making it so that she won't lose out on damage. So how does she stay healthy then? In addition to her elemental burst doing damage, it heals her based off of her current Bond of Life and attack. It resets the cooldown of her elemental skill. In a lot of ways, she reminds me of Hu Tao, which hopefully means that she will do a lot of damage as well. Also, she can glide, which is pretty cool. Similarly to Child, she will be a weekly boss, which when looking at the fight is what gives me the Demon Lord vibes I mentioned earlier. With an aggressive and fast-paced fight, it seems like Arlecchino is going to be a very imposing battle. When she hits phase 2, it looks like she's going to get spider leg wings? I'm not really sure what's going on, but they look cool as hell. The second phase also seems to have a lot of mechanics, such as many different things to dodge, and even a mechanic where you get Bond of Life and you have to heal it off, and if you do it in time, you get bonus damage against Arlecchino. This fight looks insane, and I am excited to get to play it. Though my thought on how you get to this fight is it's tied to her story quest, since they didn't mention anything about any new Archon quests. Now let's talk about the 4.6 banners. So in addition to Arlecchino, we're also getting her new signature weapon, the Crimson Moon Semblance, which looks like a scythe, which I'm a big fan of scythes. I do not think that there's enough of them in media, which is a crime. Lenny's also getting his first rerun, as well as presumably his bow, the first great magic. All of that's in phase 1, and in phase 2 we'll be getting the Wanderer and Baiju, as well as presumably their signature weapons as well. It's kind of surprising that we haven't gotten Farina though, since it's a 0.6 patch, and that's usually when Archons rerun, but I guess with her not actually being an Archon, she already breaks the mold. Arlecchino has thoroughly shattered my expectations, however she's also stolen my lunch money. Though thankfully I won't be starving as there's a whole new area for me to sink my teeth into. That's right, we're finally getting the black hole in our maps filled in. In this update, the region of the underwater capital will become available, which is home to the ruins of the kingdom of Ramira? I think I said that right, I don't really care. Which used to be the home to the ancient king Remus, who created a magic symphony that grants wishes. This will serve as the region's new exploration mechanic. You will be able to pause/unpause the symphony to solve puzzles. Basically, it's like a time manipulation power. You will get to this area through the village of Petrichor, where you'll be meeting a talking cat who will set off on an underwater adventure with you, where you'll learn about this ancient civilization and even get to meet a dragon apparently. As you're exploring in this area, you can find a statue of a centaur, which is actually the New World boss, and it looks really cool. I would imagine that there are other new enemies in this area as well. My guess is this is the boss that's going to give Arlecchino's Ascension materials, so getting out there and exploring right away will probably be important. By the way, the cat looks so incredibly adorable swimming underwater that it's basically a crime. And speaking of things that are illegal, the man with a love of bad puns is back. That's right, Cyno is getting his second story quest, so that means we'll be headed back to Sumeru for a while, where we'll get to learn about his past, which includes a new character showing up, and they seem like they might become playable in the future, based on their design. So if all of that wasn't musical enough for you, Arataki Ito, the one and Oni, is back to host another music event in the form of this year's Iridescence Tour, where Dvorak, an NPC from previous events, is showing back up. In this event we'll be getting a rhythm minigame, so as all of you know that means we'll be getting another instrument to make absolutely beautiful music with. Also, it seems like we'll have to go out and collect resources to help build the venue, and even go recruit people to come to the event. Based off of what the host of the special program said, it sounded like this could mean there could be voiced music. I'm not sure if that's the case though. Anyways, I'm always a really big fan of these music events. They're always usually really fun. Windtrace is back, and in addition to the normal prop hunt-esque gameplay, it also looks like it's taken inspiration from Dead by Daylight. Now when you get tagged, you're only out for a little bit the first time. Similar to how getting put on a hook in Dead by Daylight doesn't mean that you're completely out of the game. However, respawns are definitely limited. Also, the other main mechanic is literally just generators to fix. Although while you're fixing them, you won't be able to disguise yourself, but they're imperative to fix. After you finish fixing 4 of them, you win the game. There's also going to be a crazy man who, after going to Natland and seeing people with their companions, which I think hints at mounts, though that is purely speculative. But anyways, he wants to befriend many of the world bosses in the game, so he asks you for help. This is essentially a boss fighting event where you get to tailor the difficulty of the bosses, which is always appreciated as a Dolphin player, as a lot of bosses don't have enough HP for you to even get through your setup sometimes depending on what you're fighting, and I can only imagine that that pain is worse for a whale. So these events are always fun to play. We're getting an overflowing mastery event, which is, you know, whatever, just helps you build your characters faster. I almost forgot about the Vibro Crystal Applications event. Basically, you make 2 teams and you use 2 sets of crystals. One set is your buffs and your other set is your conditions to activate the buffs, and you can customize these however you like. And last but not least, there's quality of life changes, starting with the quick obtain option in the teapot that allows you to buy/build any of the furnishings you still need to finish the set you're trying to place down. More furnishings can be made at once, and there's better search options. Treasure compasses now show treasure chests on the actual map, and they reset after opening treasure chests. New character portraits are now available based off of the quest chains that you've done, so think of like your major world quests. And lastly, optimizations to the story quests, so not as many characters and locations will get tied up because of many other random quests. 4.6 is looking to be a really good patch with a lot of stuff to do, and has got my most anticipated character ever coming out in it. Arlecchino is going to leave me in financial ruin, but I've already accepted my fate. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think about Arlecchino and everything that's coming out in this patch. And adios, try not to die.